The Warriors get the win over the Blazers and continue what is a pretty pivotal homestand for them, now improving to 3-0 with the wins over the Rockets, Timberwolves, and now Portland, and a big couple of games still ahead with the Pelicans in on Friday. But before that, the Clippers in on Thursday, and the Warriors flipping this game in similar fashion to a couple of the other games on this homestand. Bad first quarters giving way to big second halves. And last night it was the fourth quarter in the game against the Timberwolves a couple of nights ago. Tonight it was the third quarter that flipped the game, but the Warriors really changed the game late in the second quarter, right before halftime. Warriors, after giving up 41 points in the first quarter, trailing 41-27. It was a layup line. There were a lot of wide-open corner three-point attempts for the Blazers, and Portland just had their way. Damian Lillard getting to the free throw line. Damian Lillard early in the game, 15 first quarter points. He was 5 of 8 and just commanding and controlling the game. 3 assists as well for Lillard as Portland shot at 60%, 6 of 12 from 3. And the Warriors just couldn't find any defensive footing in that first quarter, but a little bit more competitive in quarter number 2. The offense wasn't there in quarter number 2. The Warriors only 21 points, but they allowed 24 and stabilized the game to a certain extent with the 8-2 run to close the first half. And at the half, the Warriors found themselves down by 17. So it's still going to be a tall ask for the Warriors to be able to come back in this game, but they gave themselves a fighting chance after being down 23 and trimming the 6 points off of the lead at that point to go from 23 down to 17. And then in the third quarter, the Warriors really got active defensively. I know in the post-game press conferences here, there's been a lot of discussion about what changed defensively. Not so much maybe the scheme, but the execution and the effort. Warriors with some zone, Warriors with some box and one on Damian Lillard, just doubling him, flat out getting the ball out of his hands, following him around if he was going to dribble it on the perimeter, and leaving Draymond Green on the back end to fend for the rest of the defense. I thought Damian Lillard picking up his fourth foul in the middle of the third quarter was key, and he took a couple of bad shots, had a couple of bad plays, and all of a sudden the Warriors were within 74-70 and able to attack Damian Lillard on the offensive end because he was in foul trouble, and the Warriors find themselves ahead on that Klay Thompson three that we played coming in here, 79-78. Kuminga, Lamb, Jerome, all playing strong defense and giving the Warriors a lift in that third quarter. Another game where you mentioned about 5 or 6 other players before you mentioned Kevon Looney, but Kevon Looney was as impactful as he always is, and the Warriors wind up outscoring the Blazers 39-17 in the third quarter. And so the Warriors flipped it in that third quarter. They go from 17 down to 5 points ahead going to the fourth quarter, and they stuck with it. Defensively, they played much better, much more active, and they attacked the basket as they got the Blazers and Lillard in particular in a little bit of foul trouble, but they attacked, and similar to the way they did in the fourth quarter the other night. So the Warriors found themselves up 5 going to the fourth, and then they put it on Portland in that fourth quarter, 36-23 in the fourth, and you add it all up, and it's a 123-105 win for the Warriors, and it is another win on the home floor, third consecutive win here on the homestand for Golden State, and they again have gotten to the 2-game over 500 mark, which has been the limit for them to this point this season. How significant, though, are the 3 wins for the Warriors here over this last handful of days here coming out of the All-Star break since they've been back at home? Well, it's allowed the Warriors to vault from 10th before play started on Friday night all the way up to 5th now in the Western Conference. That's right, 5th in the Western Conference. The Warriors by percentage points, they're 32-30, Clippers at 33-31, but if you keep carrying the decimal points out, the Warriors, although it is a virtual tie between them and the Clippers, the Warriors by percentage points have the advantage on the Clippers, who got beat tonight by Minnesota, and so the Warriors find themselves at 32-30, a game back of 4th in the West, and now in a tie with the Clippers, but percentage points ahead of them. Warriors tonight gained ground, as you look at this, gained ground on the Clippers, who got beat by Minnesota. Warriors handled Minnesota on Sunday, so they gained ground on Minnesota there, but they gained ground on the Lakers, who got beat by Memphis tonight. They gained ground on Oklahoma City, who lost for a second consecutive game at home to Sacramento as the Kings continue their hot sprint out of the break. Kings are 4-0 since the All-Star break. They beat Portland, which also helped the Warriors back at the beginning of the post-All-Star break portion of the schedule. Then Dallas lost to Indiana, and so the Mavs are struggling, and a couple of these new-look teams that made some big-time moves right before the deadline are not looking so hot right about now, as Dallas lost at home to Indiana. And so they find themselves dropping. And then Utah got beat by San Antonio. Spurs hadn't won a game in about a month and a half. And Utah Utah falls there. And so the Warriors gaining on all of these teams beneath them. Lakers, Thunder, Mavs, Jazz, Portland, and the Clippers with the win, and with the series of wins here coming out of the break. the Warriors now find themselves at 2 games over 500. They are tied for 5th in the West, and Kevin Durant's going to come back for the Suns tomorrow in Charlotte. And so the sprint is on, but believe it or not, the Warriors only still a game back of 4th. That's where it gets a little bit more dicey. The Kings, with their hot play, have been able to separate a little bit, so they've got a 3.5 game lead over Phoenix, 4.5 game lead over the Warriors and Clippers here now at 36 and 25. So we've been talking about it a lot. What does it take? Just 2 or 3, 4 wins in a row can make a huge difference. And just here in the matter of 4 days, the Warriors have moved up 5 spots just by going 3-0 and handling business and being able to come back and beat a couple of these teams these last 2 games that are right there in the mix with them. So 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. It's John Dickinson here on Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game as the Warriors get the win over the Blazers. Big third quarter, big second half, really, for the Warriors, as it is 75-40 Warriors in the second half. And you add the Warriors from where they were at the end of the third quarter, it was even bigger than that. But 75-40 in the second half from 17 down. The Warriors wind up winning this game in blowout fashion by 18 after leading by as many as 19. Good to see Draymond Green back and effective for the Warriors. There was some good news yesterday with the MRI coming back clean, and then Draymond being probable and available for this one. And it was the quintessential Draymond Green game against Portland, where he's pushing the pace, he's quarterbacking the defense as a free safety behind the play. He's a game-high plus 26. And the typical 12 points, 9 boards, 8 assists, couple of steals, couple of blocks, just impact felt in every different phase of the game. And tonight was the kind of game where if the Warriors don't get Draymond back, maybe they can't flip the script on this Portland team after Portland built the 23-point lead. But the Warriors able to hang around, and I think, again, going back to late in that second quarter, being able to hang around. Portland's blown a lot of leads this year. And so to start to slow down Lillard a little bit, to start to be able to dare some of the other Portland players to beat you after a hot start from three-point range, and they were unable to do so. And Lillard really had a brutal first half of the third quarter. Warriors defense had a lot to say about that, and that helped this game ultimately turn in the Warriors' favor, where they were never looking back come the fourth quarter. The better defense, adjustments potentially to the game plan, the zone, the box and one, Kuminga getting an opportunity to be thrown on Lillard a little bit. This was a nice, solid Jonathan Kuminga game. How about Dante DiVincenzo? Dante DiVincenzo, again, for the Warriors, shooting the heck out of the ball from 3, makes 5 of 7 tonight, but it's a little bit of everything from DiVincenzo. The 3 assists, the ball part. Dante DiVincenzo is someone who has been tremendous for the Warriors in the games that Steph Curry has missed especially. You go back to the holiday homestand where the Warriors ripped off 5 in a row. They're right the last week of calendar year 2022 in December and on into that first couple of days of January. He was having games then like he's had here these last couple of games when not only Curry's been out, but Wiggins has been out as well, and he's been able to step right into the starting lineup and be a really impactful player. Says a lot about the Warriors' ability to do what they did tonight with Klay Thompson not having the monster offensive performance that he's had over these last 2 games. Klay came out, didn't shoot it well. As awful a first quarter and half, really, as Klay's had in quite some time. But Klay able to stabilize. He had a big second half coming off of the rough first half. But Dante DiVincenzo, he's somebody that I think has got to play more when Curry is back. Because one of the more confounding aspects of this team, and there's some good Curry news that we can get to between now and 11 o'clock here on 95.7 The Game. A report dropping right before tip-off from Bay Area News Group with the first real details of what's been going on for Steph and just how close potentially Steph could be to a return to the lineup. And it's for the first time seeming like it would be sooner than later. reevaluation officially coming for Steph Curry tomorrow, and so expect that here leading into these next two against the Clippers and Pelicans. So if it's not Thursday or Friday, it's looking more and more like potentially the early part of next week as opposed to maybe the later part. But again, nothing official on that. We'll get you caught up on the report from Madeline Kenny and Shayna Rubin of the Bay Area News Group here coming up on 95.7 The Game. So, yeah, lots to get into. We will hear from Steve Kerr. We will hear from Dante DiVincenzo. We hope to hear from Draymond Green, maybe even Jordan Poole as well. And, Jordan Poole, the maligned Jordan Poole for the Warriors this year. I jokingly texted my guy Matt Steinmetz, are Warrior fans going to be coming after Jordan Poole tonight or not? And the answer is obviously they're not going to be coming after Jordan Poole tonight because Jordan Poole, after another iffy start, winds up 29 points and a plus 25 and aggressive in attacking. We talk about DiVincenzo attacking. Jordan Poole was attacking. And how great has Jordan Poole been this year against Portland? Well, in 3 games against Portland, 41 for Jordan Poole back on December 30th, and there were some big-time December 30th last time Portland was in this building vibes as there was tonight. Almost the identical situation. Curry was out, Wiggins was out, and the Warriors got down big, came back and won that game that Friday night right before the end of 2022. But in that first game, 41 for Jordan Poole, 38 for Jordan Poole 3 weeks ago in Portland, as the Warriors ended up losing that game by 3 down the stretch, and 29 tonight. Jordan Poole outscored Damian Lillard in all 3 games, and Damian Lillard's coming off a 71. And look, Jordan Poole wasn't the one shutting Damian Lillard down. That was a team effort and a scheme effort. But anytime you can have Steph Curry out when you're going up against Damian Lillard and you can win the point guard battle against Portland in terms of points scored, you got a hell of a shot to walk out with a win, and you got a hell of a shot to walk out with a win and a win in blowout fashion. So the Warriors get that job done tonight. 888-957-9570 if you want to react to this one. Anthony Lamb and Ty Jerome also contributing factors in this one as well, as they both get closer to their 50-game limit before they'd have to be added to the Warriors' active roster or not play anymore between now and the end of the regular season or playoffs. We'll get to all of that. It's all coming up. We'll pause here. We'll come back. We'll keep this thing rolling until 11 o'clock. Warriors get the win over the Blazers, 123-105. You heard it right here, 95.7 The Game.
At the Home Depot, we know the world is a messy place. Keeping it clean takes science. That's why businesses everywhere have long trusted cleaning products from Ecolab to take on the toughest messes. And now, that level of clean is available for your home. Introducing Ecolab Scientific Clean, a full line of professional-grade cleaning products for all.
fact that, really where Jordan Poole made hay last year was when he was playing with Curry and starting when Klay Thompson was out with Curry. Like, that's when Poole was as efficient as he's ever been, and going for 19 a game and doing it in like I said, a highly efficient manner. And so that really has been, I think, when he's been his best. Now, he has had times where he's played the point and been the starting point guard. The end of last year was one of those stretches. Earlier in the year was another one of those stretches down the at the end of December and the beginning of January. And so, but yeah, anytime you can take a little bit of the heat off of Poole, I think that helps, because I do think, and Steve Kerr's addressed this over the last couple of days, it's a matter of he wants to try to do too much, and I think he gets in trouble when he is somebody that's trying to do too much, and the defense is more solely focused on him as he moves up the pecking order of the Warriors' scouting report for other teams that they look at. So 888-957-9570. Let's get to the hardest worker of the game. Hardest working player of the game is brought to you by AC Transit.
Warriors with it. DiVincenzo pass to Draymond. Backdoor cut again by Draymond. Gets the lay-in. And Tom, what you talked about in the first half, they're doing it exactly. They're not going necessarily at Lillard. They're just running their offense.
Exactly.
Yeah, the Warriors running their offense. Draymond facilitating a lot, and he finishes with the 12 points. And Draymond, a big part of the Warriors' ability to have the big comeback and get the job done tonight. Your AC Transit hardest working player of the game. AC Transit looking for hard workers and offering a $2,000 bonus for new bus operators and journey-level mechanics to join their team. For more complete details and to apply, visit actransit.org/careers. That's actransit.org/careers. 888-957-9570. Looking at a couple of text messages here, Xfinity Mobile text line, and Anthony Lamb, second consecutive game for him where he was impactful in the second half and impactful in the fourth quarter. And Anthony Lamb is someone that's coming up now on, I believe, 47 games tonight for Anthony Lamb as far as games played, and the limit for him is 50. And so you look at, once you get to 50, you're ineligible to play with the big club unless you're signed into one of the 15 roster spots. Well, Anthony Lamb could be signed into that 15th roster spot. And there's been like a lot of, what do the Warriors do? Is it Lamb or Jerome? And I think at this point, the answer is really simple. If you get to the point where, to me, you sign Lamb as soon as you have to at this point, because his time would figure to come up before Ty Jerome's. Ty Jerome's played a few less games compared to Lamb. And so to me, you sign Lamb into that roster spot. You're more likely to need a forward versus a guard if you're healthy at the guard line, and the Warriors project to be healthy at the guard line soon. I know we get into this all the time about that back and forth of what do, but they need forwards more than they need guards when they're fully healthy. And so I think that, coupled with the fact that Lamb's decision day is sooner, although it doesn't have to be, by the way. Anthony Lamb could just be inactive for the Golden State Warriors once he reaches 50, and then signed at any point between now and the end of the regular season into one of the 15 roster spots, and that would make him eligible for the remaining regular season games at that point and for the playoffs. And so to me, it's simple. You sign Lamb, and you know that Curry's coming back, and if you have Curry and Klay, you have Poole and DiVincenzo, that's 4 right there that are going to be playing ahead of Ty Jerome, and Gary Payton II would be a 5th. So to me, Ty Jerome is somebody that winds up not being on the active roster. Now, you do have a wild card. You do have an emergency option as well, but it's not one the Warriors would have to look at quite yet. But you do have the Iguodala roster spot. If Iguodala got to a point at the end of the year where he wasn't going to be healthy and able to help you in the playoffs, and a guard got hurt, and you needed a guard to take a spot, well, then maybe you could potentially waive Iguodala and sign Jerome into Iguodala's spot. But I think that's the order of operations as far as the way the Warriors would have to play this thing out. moving forward. Lamb gets the first opportunity, and then if you do have some kind of an injury where you need another guard, then you got to take a long look at Iguodala's spot and the potential to make another move. So let's go ahead and hear from the head coach of the Warriors, Steve Kerr, as he met with the media following this one, as the Warriors get their third straight win from a game under 500. They're now 2 over and currently 5th in the Western Conference. Here's the head coach.
Steve, a nice run to close out the first half, but that only got it down to 17. Did you think that's kind of where it started? And then what happened there in the third quarter to turn it all around?
Yeah, I mean, it was good to close the half and just make it a little more of a manageable deficit. And but I just felt like the intensity picked up in the second half. The defense was much better. We held them to, I think, 40 points in the second half. So, they were amazing early on. They were hitting everything, and we were a little scattered. We kind of had a different game plan tonight than normal, and we're still putting some things together a little bit out there during the first quarter, and I thought we did a much better job of executing defensively in the second half.
How do you think they executed the defense on Dame? It felt like you decided to just take him out.
Yeah,
I don't think you guys don't do that often. What did you think of the execution of that?
Well, I mean, we know all too well what Dame can do, when he gets rolling. So that was the plan from the beginning. Like, let's try to take him out. And the biggest thing was not fouling him. That's why I was losing my mind on those 2 foul calls early in the game. I didn't think we fouled him, but he was driving to the rim and drew 2 fouls, I think. And he shot 16 free throws last time we played them, and that was the difference. So tonight he had 5 early, and we didn't foul him at all in the second half. So that was key. And we just, you just make a decision. You're just going to make somebody else make a shot instead of him, and that's pretty much as simple as it gets.
Steve, Draymond was plus 26. How would you assess his impact on the game tonight?
Plus 26 says it better than I can say it.
I mean, 12 rebounds, I think 9 assists, 12 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 blocks, 2 steals. How important was it to have him back tonight?
Yeah, I mean, it was huge, especially with the game plan. I mean, Draymond is as good as anybody I've ever seen executing the stuff we were doing tonight. It's just basically becomes a zone on the backside of the play. If you're going to double Dame, at half court or blitz him or whatever, you have to have somebody like Draymond or Loon on the backside, or both of them, to navigate what's happening, because it's basically 4-on-3. And I thought they executed beautifully there, and that's why I left the starters out there for as long as I did to start the third quarter.
I mean, you've mentioned kind of the complexity to your game plan tonight. Do you think you'll want to, I know you're not playing Lillard on a nightly basis, but adding more complexity into your defenses moving forward, do you think that's a way that you guys can be more effective on?
Yeah, I mean, I told the players in our walkthrough that this is a great game for us, because this is kind of what the playoffs are about. You got to figure out your opponent and maybe throw something different at them, and then have the poise to stay with it. It's really easy if you do what we did tonight and take the ball out of Dame's hands and they hit like 4 or 5 threes right away. It's really easy to sort of, say this isn't going to work, but you just have to remember the forest for the trees. You just got to remember 48 minutes. Let's keep at it, but do it a little bit better and trust that what we're trying to do will work. And sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But the main thing is that the team feels it and goes through that process, because we got a lot of young guys who haven't been through it before.
You mentioned the word poise, and that's something that we've talked a lot about throughout the season. A lot of the time it's been the lack of poise, but have there been some tangible things that you can see or feel that has been shifting, especially these last 2 games to close out that game the other night and then make up this big comeback tonight that you guys didn't have earlier on?
It just feels like we're coming together. It feels like there's some chemistry, some energy that's forming. We've been battling all season and without Steph and Wiggs for so much of the season. And, these guys have done a great job of just keeping our heads above water. And I think we can feel the finish line. We know Steph's going to be back before too long. Hopefully Wiggs, hopefully Gary. So, we've got reinforcements coming, and in the meantime, these guys are doing a hell of a job. So it feels like there's some grit and some toughness, and the guys are really coming together. It's fun to watch.
Steve, with Kuminga, he's been tonight so steady and just showing you signs. I know you've said, but that dunk where he went down the middle through two guys, and it was pretty loud in here. I mean, how much of a lift did he give you? In the second half?
Yeah, JK was great. We asked him to guard Lillard quite a bit during the game, and then I thought he made a couple of beautiful cuts to the basket, and that's what we're really trying to get him to focus on. JP threw him a pass over the top, and he got a layup and a foul. That was a big play in the game, and that's the kind of play we need more from him, just the dives and understanding what that dive does, not just maybe getting him a bucket, but pulling the defense in so that we can get somebody open on the other side of the floor. So JK's, he's learning every single day, and he's doing a good job of just working and staying with it. I thought he was really good tonight.
Steve, Jordan drove to the basket pretty consistently tonight. What do you think about his game as far as that goes?
Yeah, I mean, I thought his aggressiveness was really important for us. They early in the game, it was all jumpers for us, and they played great defense. They were switching everything. We really didn't get much at the rim, and then I thought Jordan attacking, late in the half and then into the second half was really important in terms of setting a tone.
Steve, over here, you allowed 17 points in the fourth quarter the other night, and as you noted, just 40 in the second half tonight. What has caused that urgency, that intensity to rise, and how much did the box and one or whatever you did on Dame tonight sort of help keep your players engaged and I guess focused on that?
I don't know. I mean, it's I don't think it was the scheme as much as it was just the energy. We ran the same stuff in the first half and didn't work very well. So whatever you run, the guys have to bring energy and alertness and grit. And that's what we saw the whole second half, just like the other night. So that's why I said I'm really pleased with what seems to be happening with the group coming together and kind of gutting out some wins. It's exciting.
Maybe along those lines with the box and one, what did you think about Dante's effort tonight, especially two-way shadowing Dame, but then coming up with some really timely buckets?
Yeah, he had some huge buckets and made big plays for us, but he's been doing that all year. He's just having a spectacular season. I'm so happy for him. Last year was tough with the injuries and, he got traded and didn't know where he was going to end up. And it's been a perfect spot for him and a perfect fit for us. So he's bringing it every single night. It's exciting watching him.
Steve, you mentioned a couple nights ago you liked the Kuminga-Lamb combo.
Yeah.
You used it a lot tonight. What is it about those two playing together that helps seemingly both of them?
Well, Lamb is a 0.5 player. I mean, when the ball hits his hands, he either dribbles, passes, or shoots immediately because he recognizes what's happening on the floor. And so he found JK on that. I think JK was getting fronted, and you saw Lamb flash to the bucket, and he knows that stuff. It's instinctive for him, and so he helps JK get some easy buckets. And then they're both very versatile defensively. And so they both fit in a switching type of defense. So they're both really strong. It's one of the things I think the modern NBA, you want as many guys who can stand up to, different players over and over again, because, you're going to have to guard in space and you can't let guys run right through you. And both guys really do a good job holding people up defensively.
Steve, about that 41-point first quarter you guys gave up, you called a couple of timeouts. What was the point, and what was it you wanted to get across to the guys in regrouping?
I think we messed up a couple coverages, and we weren't in sync defensively. So the quick timeouts were just to help us get organized, and I thought our staff did a great job at halftime making adjustments. We had we kind of cut down the game plan a little bit, simplified it in the second half, and that made a difference. But I have such a great staff, and we got guys who are really all over the adjustments that need to be made, and they communicated that well to the group, and everybody executed. It was fun.
Steve, as you've mentioned a few times this year, defense was kind of the bigger concern, the biggest difference really between last year. You guys ranked so high last year, not as much this year. How important or essential, I guess, is that down this home stretch, and how confident are you that you can sustain this kind of defensive effort?
It's everything. I mean, you don't win in the playoffs unless you're really good defensively. And in our case, we may not get to the playoffs unless we're really good defensively. So it's a good sign that we're making some strides.
And the Warriors have made strides and been able to make those adjustments that Steve Kerr mentioned in a lot of these games at home off of some bad starts or some poor stretches to still hang on and be able to win a lot of those games. 888-957-9570. We still got to give you the update from the Bay Area News Group, from Shayna Rubin and Madeline Kenny on Steph Curry and even Andre Iguodala. We're talking about Andre, but I want to get to a couple of callers here before we close out the night. Sal in Alameda is up next here on 95.7 The Game. What's going on, Sal?
Hi, good evening. This is Al from Alameda.
Oh, Al. Hey, what's up, Al? Yep, it said Sal on my board here, but how you doing, brother?
I'm good. Thank you very much. Yes, I got two things here, or maybe three things, okay? I've been watching this lately that we're getting behind the second half, and somehow we're picking it up. Our energy is there, and, we win the game. Okay, but in the first half, it seems like we're always down. We're not playing as a team, but the second half, we're doing it, and I'm kind of giving Steve Kerr credit here. He's pushing the right button right now, okay? And Lamb, DiVincenzo, Looney, these three guys here are doing the job for us right now. I know we don't have Wiggins, and we don't have Curry, and I don't know now when they come back, how is the lineup going to be? How's the speed going to be? Is it going to be a little slower, or are we going to get in trouble, someone like on defense here? That's I'm kind of concerned about that. I'm carrying the points right there. A defense like DiVincenzo, this guy could jump. He could play defense. Okay, I'm not saying Curry he's not the main guy, but he could score. But he's not like DiVincenzo. He could play defense more than Curry. And Wiggins, he's up and down. Well, I know he's got a little personal problem there. But I'm kind of concerned that when they come back here, I don't know how's the lineup going to be again. We have to adjust this. And right now we're like 3 games, over 500? And that's what I want to jump in. I'm going to call.
Yep, thanks, Al. Appreciate the call. There is definitely going to be an adjustment period when Steph comes back and if and when Wiggins comes back and they get everybody in the fold together again. And look, the Warriors are 12-12 without Steph Curry. And that means they're 20-18 with Steph Curry this season. And it's not a question of Steph. Obviously, Steph's one of the great players of all time. He's the franchise player. But the pieces and the way the pieces have complemented each other when Steph has been on the floor, when they have been closer to whole, has been more problematic this year than the time where Curry has been out. Like, you would take 500 in 24 games throughout a regular season without Steph Curry any year. But the issue has been that the pieces haven't totally fit, and whether it's been the veterans coasting that we've talked about a lot, whether it's been the young players unable to fit and finding that cohesive rotation, I think who the 8-9 players are going to be, finding enough defense to go with the offense, but there is going to have to be that adjustment period come whenever the Warriors are whole again. But who's going to be playing. Steph, Clay, Wiggins, Draymond, Looney, DiVincenzo, Poole. Those 7 are playing. Kuminga's probably playing. Gary Payton II's playing if he's healthy. And then probably Anthony Lamb, JaMychal Green. Those are going to be the sometimes in the rotation, sometimes not in the rotation, depending upon matchups. Kinds of players, and then everybody else is probably not seeing the floor unless there's some kind of injury or change. Luke Mann in Fairfield next here on Warriors Wrap Up. What's going on, Luke Mann?
Hey, JD, how you doing tonight?
I'm good.
What's up,
doing
JD?
well.
I just want to say Chase Center was electric second half. Was there tonight. The fans really brought it in that second half. I feel like we really gave our team some energy. The way we were attacking the basket in the second half was really the key, and the momentum shift that we needed. Jonathan's dunk down the lane was the spark that really got us over the hump, in my opinion, and our defense was really committed to our game plan, and we actually were stretching out to the three-point line, so that was nice.
Yeah,
that's it. It was a good win.
Yeah, real good win. Chase was electric. There's no doubt. It was electric tonight. It was electric on Sunday against Minnesota. I think Warrior fans definitely brought it, sensing that the team needed a more intense atmosphere to be able to pull them through. To me, that's also part of why you come back. You keep fighting. And I think, to go back to what Al was saying, you're forced to fight once you get down. And I think you'd rather not get down, but once you get down, you're forced to fight. Otherwise, you're going to get embarrassed, and your season's going to be on the brink of big trouble. And so I think the Warriors have been able to get themselves off the mat in these last couple of games because their season is flashing before their eyes. I mean, if the Warriors had lost these last two games, what would we be talking about at that point? We'd be talking about the Warriors right now being 11th or tied for 10th still in the West, with everybody else picking up and gaining ground on them, Portland and Minnesota. That's not the case, but it's not the case because the Warriors were able to get up off the mat, and the competitiveness has been there at a level which is similar to, I think, that holiday homestand when they had the wins against Memphis and Charlotte and Portland. This game was very similar, eerily similar to the game on December 30th, where the Warriors beat the Blazers after Portland got out to a big lead, and the Warriors ran them down and beat them with a big fourth quarter on that night. All right, 888-957-9570. Appreciate Al, appreciate Luke, man. Wanted to get to the Steph Curry report here from the Mercury News, Barry News Group, Shayna Rubin and Madeline Kinney combining on this one, and I'll just give you the gist of it. They had that Steph Curry and Andre Iguodala scrimmaged today with Santa Cruz, and so that would mean that Curry has done more in terms of the on-court work, which it began right toward the tail end of the All-Star break. And Andre Iguodala as well scrimmaged. So it looks like maybe Iguodala's getting closer to a point where he could come back and potentially help a little bit down the stretch here as well. But that was the next step. And the official evaluation and an announcement from the Warriors on the next steps for Curry coming likely tomorrow. But did want to hand out that bit of news, which does start to make you wonder if the timeline is closer rather than farther away as far as Steph Curry. I've been trying to read the tea leaves, and look, we all do it. There's no harm in it. As to is it going to be a couple of days, or this week or next week, or maybe the end of next week? And is it a point where maybe he's not ready to come back when they hit the road and go to LA, so he doesn't come back until that next couple of home games against the Bucks and the Suns? And I think now it's probably trending more, since he's been able to scrimmage and advance himself from that court work. That means it's sooner rather than later, barring obviously any kind of soreness or setback or anything that's going on with the knee that would cause him to have to be shut down or have that timeline be shortened up a little bit. So some positive news really on Steph Curry from before the ball game here via, again, Madeline Kinney and Shayna Rubin. Hat tip to them. They had the news on this in the report that dropped right before tip-off tonight here. So expect a confirmation and further update tomorrow at some point. And, of course, we'll be all over that here on 95.7 The Game. Final couple of minutes, John Dickinson inside Chase Center as the Warriors get the job done here tonight. Let's go ahead and hear a couple of minutes from Draymond Green, and then we'll call it a night on that note. Draymond back in the fold for the Warriors, and just a nice ball game for him. Game high, plus 26. Always fun to hear Draymond's thoughts on things. So here is Draymond Green.
Draymond, first of all, what did it feel like to be back on the court? And second of all, tell me what happened in that third quarter.
It's great to be back out there. You always want to be out there fighting with the guys. And, to come out with that win tonight was huge. The third quarter, I think we really locked in on the defense side of the ball. That team scored 41 points in the first quarter. And, we said at halftime, like, all right, we got the defense under control. Now they scored 24 points in the second quarter, but let's come out and let's tie both ends together. Let's use our defense to fuel our offense. We got the matchups that we wanted to get on the offensive end, and we were patient. When we could get stops and not play against a set defense every time, totally different team.
Dante said that one of the things that you did and you do pretty consistently is you to remind everybody, don't overreact. Do not overreact. Why is that so important?
I mean, you overreact and you get out of character. We've been down against this team before, 17 points, 20 points, you name it. And, with the pace of the NBA today, you can come back from down 30, no problem, because you're going to have enough possessions. And so it's really about staying even keel, sticking to the game plan. We come out, you're plugging off Matisse Thybulle. He goes 5 for 6 from three. He hits those first, 3 or 4 threes. It's easy to overreact, but he's 5 from 6 from three, and Damian Lillard's 2 from 7 from three. What it does to the defense is totally different than if Dame's 5 for 6 from three, because now you're overreacting. Everybody's, you're sending 2 and 3 guys, and other guys are getting open shots. And so really with the, just stick to the game plan, understand, and I think I'm in a position to say that because I know this coaching staff. I know when they put specific game plans together, it works. I've seen it work year after year, playoff run after playoff run. When they lock in and put a specific game plan together, we want to guard guys this way. We want to make this guy score and not let this guy. When they do that, it works. And, Coach told us before the game, like, hey, we're going to try this game plan, and this is more like a playoff game plan for us. And you come out in the first half, Houston Rockets hit all the threes, and you stay the course. Not switch your defense, not get away from what you wanted to get to. And we did that, and, second half, it was a totally different game.
Draymond, Steve said he feels like things have come together, a chemistry and energy. Even when you guys have been missing Steph, Andrew, you for some time, the others stuck with it and kept their heads above water. And tonight, Kuminga or Dante or whoever it's been. How impressed are you with how you guys have kind of withstood some of those challenges?
Very impressed. You lose Steph, and things are already rocky. It's very easy to continue to go the wrong way. It's very easy to pout, feel sorry for yourself. Said to the guys on the bench against the Clippers, like, nobody's going to feel bad for us. We don't need anybody to feel bad for us. We know what it takes. We know the guys that we have in this locker room and what we're capable of. Very happy to see guys stick with it like guys have. You get a Dante coming here, a Jermichael coming here, and the expectation is we're going to win. It'll be smooth sailing, and that's just that. The reality is no championship season is smooth sailing. No season is smooth sailing. And it's very hard to win. It's very hard. And so, when you go through the adversity, you got to stay the course, because if you can, you come out on the other side of it a totally different team. You come out on the other side of it motivated. You come out on the other side of it stronger and together. And I think, we're doing that. Now, in saying that, we won 3 in a row games. We took care of what we were supposed to take care of. We got 2 more games on this homestand. We need to close the deal. So I don't want to overreact, but there's been some good wins for us, and there's something we can build on.
I guess this is following up to Jamie's question, but for so long, the third quarter historically has been such a huge factor for you guys. Do these past 2 games, the way you closed out the other night, come back from tonight, give you little remnants of, even with a really different roster, just moments of past teams that you can kind of grasp onto and hopefully move forward?
I don't think you're necessarily looking at it like, this feels like, the teams that were great in the third quarter, but what you figure out is, can the team withstand adversity? Quite frankly, this team has not, throughout the season. Now, you look at where we are and you say, done a pretty good job of withstanding it, but there's times where adversity have hit and we haven't responded well to it. That's growth, right? Like that's the growth you want to see. All of a sudden, adversity hits a couple games in a row and you respond the right way. That's where you want to be. And, it's game 62. So it's about time that you start turning that corner. When you got rookies at this point in the season, you're no longer a rookie. You got young guys, JK, you're no longer just in your second year. Like yes, you are in your second year, but the mistakes that you'd make at the beginning of the season, once you get to game 62, you're not given that same leash to make that mistake because you're young, and not just singling JK out, but just the first young guy that come to mind. And that growth is important. And you're starting to see the growth individually and collectively. And like I said, not going to overreact, but it is something we can build on.
Yeah, and we'll see if the Warriors can build on it against the Clippers coming up here on Thursday at Chase Center, as the homestand will continue and wind down now with the Clippers Thursday, and then the Pelicans in on Friday before the Warriors go, and that's a quick turnaround between Friday night here against the Pelicans and then Sunday in LA against the Lakers, and that's an afternoon game against the Lakers, a 12:30 tip for ABC. So Lakers and Warriors then, and then it's OKC, and then it is the Warriors and the Grizzlies after that right here on 95.7 The Game before they come back and play the Bucks and the Suns, and then go right back down and play the Clippers again. So the schedule and the games are coming fast and furious, and the opponents are going to level up here a notch after these next couple of games. But the 3-game winning streak has put the Warriors in position where they are 5th at the close of business tonight in the West. That'll do it for me. Thanks to everybody in our San Francisco studios, as highlighted by Sterling Bennett, who is in control of the program here. Appreciate the help of one and all. I'm John Dickinson, and I'll be back with you on Thursday with Warriors Live here from Chase at 6 o'clock. Again, 6 o'clock, Warriors Live, Warriors and the Clippers. And I'm going to be in tomorrow from noon to 3 with Guru filling in for Matt Steinmetz here on 95.7 The Game. So look for that as well tomorrow at noon. Fox Sports Radio is coming your way next. Warriors get the job done tonight as the Dubs. They beat the Blazers 123-105, and you heard it right here on 95.7 The Game.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco. Always live on Twitch, YouTube, and the free Odyssey app.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go: shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms: irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays.